Unfortunately, even a trip to the hospital didn't stop Brady Cook.
There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of War Eagle Weekly. How we doing, Josh?
I did not have enough time to get over this loss.
Yes, as most of you know, and most of our viewers know, we like to record these on Monday, so it gives us a buffer day to get over the disappointment or come down from the high of victory, which we have not felt in quite some time, to be perfectly honest. But this week I definitely needed the extra day, and we just did not get it. We're going to have to be on a new recording schedule for a little while. But these episodes are still going to release on Tuesday and Wednesday of each week because we want, or Thursday of each week, because that's when we're doing the game previews. We want our content getting to you guys as quickly as possible and on a set schedule. But before we jump into this episode, Josh, let's remind everybody we want to subscribe, click that notification bell. You can follow us on all the socials listed here on the screen, TikTok, X, Facebook, even if you're still into that. But Josh, let's go ahead and let's get into this week's episode. We are going to be talking about the disappointing loss to Missouri and really everything that happened in this game. Josh, what are some of your initial reactions?
Everything was going so daggum right for Auburn in the first half. I mean, we hurt their starting quarterback. I never want to see a quarterback get injured, but it helped that their backup was somebody that's not used to playing football, especially this year. And our special teams got us a touchdown. Cam Coleman scored on a 47-yard bomb from Peyton Thorne. I mean, everything was looking real good. Towns Magoo made his first field goal attempt of the game. And after the first half, shit just turned bigger and smellier shit. It was very rough to watch. It just seemed like we got incredibly conservative. Missouri was dialing in on Jarquez Hunter. He had 19 rushes for 57 yards, 3.1 yards a carry, and that's just not something Jarquez Hunter is used to. That's not what we're used to seeing from Jarquez Hunter. He had some good plays. I mean, I don't know how he hurdled over a guy standing straight up trying to tackle him, but he did it anyways. And he threw a really good block on a player that outweighed him by 100 pounds and towered over him by another 1.5 to 2 feet. But it was very hard to watch in the second half. I really just don't understand what happened. I really don't. We were up 11 points, 17-6. We had the chance to go up at the very least 20-6. And Robert Lewis dropped one of the prettiest balls I've ever seen Peyton Thorne actually throw, especially on a back shoulder fade. And he just let it go straight through his arms. And then Towns Magoo missed a 33-yard field goal to put us up 20-6. And if we had caught that touchdown, Missouri couldn't have done anything to catch back up. But
Well, here's the thing: is you said things were looking good, but offensively, even in the first half, it did not look good offensively. We were not producing points, and
we weren't, but we were holding them.
I agree, but the thing is we left that door open, and offensively we looked like a shell of ourselves. It looked like they had simplified the offense to the point in this game that we weren't running the offense that we should have been running. Honestly, and it all comes down to Peyton Thorne. Okay, yeah, Peyton Thorne didn't make a glaring mistake in this game, but they simplified the offense because they just don't trust him. If we could trust him and we could run even a fraction of this offense, we would have been in a good spot offensively. But they have gotten to the point now to where they are trying to protect him so much that we just don't look good offensively. And obviously the running game is suffering because of it. And as you pointed out, his yards per carry drastically was below his season average. And again, It's just absolutely ridiculous. Fourth quarter was abysmal offensively for us. The stat on the screen that people can look here is 22 total yards in the fourth quarter for Auburn, Josh. 22
Absolutely atrocious.
total yards to Missouri's 191.
I don't
It's just
know how that can happen. I just don't get it.
so. But let's dive into the next topic here, and let's talk about some of the game-changing plays. I mean, obviously, the first one was Brady Cook and him going down in the game and getting injured. It changed the entire outcome of the game. And it led to Auburn looking pretty good. Defensively, we were making plays. We had a couple of moments on offense. This play on the screen here, Cam Coleman's touchdown, was absolutely fantastic there in the third quarter. But again, offense just looked anemic and just
Really did.
didn't look like itself, to be
It's
perfect.
not what you want. It really isn't what you want. And on that Cam Coleman touchdown, they actually ran that play again in the fourth quarter when they were down. I think it was on I think it was our last drive of the game, and Peyton Thorne just underthrew it to Cam Coleman. And I mean, the pass interference call could have been thrown, but I'm not surprised it wasn't, because it wasn't like super bad, but it definitely could have been called. So we just got to be able to dial in and make those plays that you're making earlier in the game. Like that play worked. That play would have worked. He had 2 or 3 steps on that defender late in the game, and Peyton Thorne just underthrew it. So I mean, I touched on it earlier. You weren't able to find a clip of it, but it was my biggest game-changing moment was Robert Lewis dropping that beautiful ball from Peyton Thorne to put us up 24-6.
Yeah,
you catch that ball, you win the game, and there's no change in my mind.
Yep. And by the time Brady Cook came back from the hospital, Auburn's defense had clearly gotten tired. We brought it up in last week's video where I talked about how Auburn's defense against Georgia looked like they were exhausted. And it looks like they didn't conserve their energy leading up to the end of this game, and we just don't have enough bodies to rotate, I think, and we're starting to see some of the deficiencies, and there were some mistakes that some of the young players made that happened in this game, but to allow Brady Cook and this Missouri offense to drive 95 yards in the final 4 minutes of the game is absolutely ridiculous. We had them many times. He converted 2 fourth down plays, a few third down plays, and it was just so many opportunities that our defense had. But you could look at them and they just looked gassed. They took poor angles at times. They did not look good at times. This fourth down play that we just saw here, of course they put Keontae Scott on Luther Burton, who hadn't been doing anything the entire game until this final drive.
Dude, I don't understand what's going on with Keontae Scott. I don't friggin' get his downfall from last year to this year. And no like form of data did I see that would predict Keontae Scott just taking one huge massive step back in performance this year from last year. It's an anomaly. I don't understand it. He is nowhere near, he's not even a third of the player he was last year.
Yeah, it is very difficult. He's just not looking good, and he's just making mistakes. He was also the defender on this long pass play. He ended up trying to tip the ball, and it ended up not working out, and it led to them having a very long pass play that set up the rushing touchdown that we saw here. There was just moments left and right that just it burned us too much. And let's be fair here. Let's be perfectly honest. This game isn't even close if Brady Cook is playing the whole time.
It's true. I agree.
Based off of what he looked like once he entered the game, this wouldn't even have been close. But like you said, the quarterback that they put in there to replace him clearly just was not up to the task. I know he started a lot of games for Notre Dame and played in a lot of games, but he just was not looking good. And that's the thing, is our defense was keeping us in the game. And so, kudos to them for their performance in 3 of the quarters. But when it mattered most, we just couldn't do anything.
There's only so much your defense can do when your offense can't keep up. That's just the truth. And like you said, there's no like glaring mistakes made on offense. We won the turnover battle. I think we were +2 in the turnover battles, and that was one of our things for this whole season. You win the turnover battle, you're going to win more games. Going into the fourth quarter, Auburn had a 91.6% chance to win that game going into the fourth quarter, and then we lost it.
Yep.
And
the thing
going
is
in the fourth quarter in the Oklahoma game, we had a 96% chance to win the game, and we friggin' blew it. That's at least our second game blown in games we should have friggin' won this season. And again, it comes down to your defense playing good the entire game. Yeah. Offense played their best game against Oklahoma, and defense has been keeping the team in the games all season long. And when you're offense, I just don't understand. It's a lost season. Like there's no denying that. There's no arguing that. It's a lost season. Why aren't we playing more of the guys we're going to have on the team next year and getting their feet wet a little bit? Why aren't we playing more? I'm seeing more of DeMarcus Riddick. I'm seeing more freshmen in the backfield. Obviously, that's out of necessity, not because people aren't playing to their potential.
Right.
You have a lot of injuries back there. I don't know why we're not seeing a lot more of these freshmen. Like, why haven't we seen Perry Thompson in 3-4 weeks?
Yeah. Well, my thing is so the reason for that is because then you're cutting yourself off at the legs each new season, because then we're going to have a hard time bringing in veteran players in the transfer portal, because then it's just going to be, pointing to the fact that, hey, if shit hits the fan, Auburn's going to sit you and play the younger guys, so that way they get more experience. But the thing is yes, it's a lost season outside the quarterback position, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Outside the quarterback position, there's really not anything in particular that I feel like we should be playing nothing but the young players, except for Percy Lewis, who just looks lost out there.
Percy Lewis, oh my gosh. He should not start another game. He should not start another game. He was probably just about as big of a miss in the portal as Peyton Thorne was. There was so much hype. There was even more hype surrounding Percy Lewis in the offseason. And the dude, like you said, he's just a step or two too slow. Every single pass protection snap. He looks pretty decent in the run game. Don't get me wrong. He's a friggin' powerhouse. He's very strong. Yeah. But when it comes to pass pro, he just can't do it. Those edge players these days are just way too fast for players like that.
I agree. But it leads us, talking about veteran players, it leads us to our next topic about, Peyton Thorne. Is Peyton Thorne to blame for this loss? And I'd like to get your opinion on this, because I have a very strong opinion.
I really don't think he is. You can make the argument that our offense isn't producing like it should, because Hugh Freeze and the offensive coordinator Derek Nix can't trust Peyton Thorne to run their offense. There's that argument, but there's also the argument of this was a team loss. Every aspect of the game, every member on the starting offense and defense lost this game. Not a single player, not a single play lost the game. It was a team effort to lose this game. Every single one of them found a way to lose. And, I don't believe it was intentional on these players. I don't think they gave up. You brought it up multiple times. They were all gassed, especially the defense. They were all gassed. Now, in the fourth quarter, whenever Peyton Thorne, our last drive, he threw it over the middle and just left Rivaldo Fairweather to get destroyed over the middle. After that play, players were just walking back to the line of scrimmage. They weren't blowing off the line to get open. They were like, yeah, this is just done. We're dead in the water at this point. So it's just a lack of effort late in the game on everyone's part. Yeah.
And the thing is when Brady Cook came in, when he came back, I knew I
you texted
the realization that it was over. It was just so over. At the beginning of that last drive, I told you, I was like, it feels like they're going to score a touchdown. And that's what it feels like. And sure enough, they did. And they held on to the ball for a very long time. But getting back to Peyton Thorne, he's pressing too much. He's running the ball and looking good running the ball, but then he's trying to split an offensive player and one of his own players as well as a Missouri defender, and goes
not covering the ball,
not covering the ball up. I mean, this is football 101 stuff that he's not doing. And there are countless moments where, yeah, he's leaving the receivers out to dry on some of his passes, specifically Rivaldo Fairweather on that monster.
I hope to God he's feeling okay, because he looked like he was in agonizing pain on the field.
Yeah, and it was a clean hit. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It was a clean hit. So thank you to the Missouri player for keeping your head up and not letting that be a target, because it was ugly. But the Peyton Thorne, he was just, man, the fact that the coaching staff cannot trust him is what is so frustrating, because we have seen him operate this offense at a very high level. He just makes stupid mistakes. Then you throw in the fact that really we cannot throw to the middle of the field. Every time he does, there is something that happens that causes all kinds of mistakes. Either he throws an interception across the middle, or he lays it too far ahead for his receiver and Rivaldo Feather gets lit up, or it goes through Cam Coleman's hands because he threw it maybe a little too high. Okay, yes, Cam Coleman should have caught both of those passes that ended up being Peyton Thorne interceptions. But
I mean, Malcolm Simmons did it. Malcolm Simmons did it against Missouri. It was behind him. Malcolm Simmons turned his body around and caught the damn ball. So if he can do it, the 5-star Cam Coleman can friggin' do it. But I agree with everything you're saying. He puts either the ball or the player in danger every time he throws in over the middle. Every time.
Yeah. I'm done with Peyton Thorne. He probably gives us the best chance to win. But I need to.
He ain't going to be here next year. Bench his ass and start someone that's going to be here next year.
Yeah.
At the very least, at the cornerback position.
If we lose the next game, I don't think we can win. I don't think we can make a bowl game if we lose the next one. And at that point, and at that point, I just bench them and let's roll with Hank Brown and our Walker White, which I don't know if I want to go and ruin Walker White, but bench Thorne and let's put in Hank and let's see what we got. So that way we at least know where we stand on our backup quarterback next year if they go into the portal and get a big time name.
I take it back. We can actually lose against Kentucky, but if we lose against Kentucky, we have to win out to get bowl eligible. We have 5 games left in the season. You have to get 6 wins to be bowl eligible.
Jeez, just unbelievable. But as we have pointed out, it wasn't just Peyton Thorne.
No,
I think he is to blame on a lot of things and the way that some of the offense looked. But we've had some defensive struggles, specifically the last quarter of the games in the last 3 games. Really, we've had some difficult things that have happened. Now, this defense has played really well, and the offense has put them in some pretty bad positions. But this defense does tend to struggle at times, and specifically, they don't understand what the word containment means.
No, and they also don't understand what wrapping up means. I'm tired of seeing Keontae Scott go in there for shoulder tackles. I can't stand that junk. It's just so stupid to me. Yeah, I know you want the pretty hit, you want the highlight hit. No, you should be worrying about stopping the player to stop the yardage gains. I mean, it's just my God. I would say containment though is a bigger issue than tackling at this point, because it's just it's same shit, different day. Every single weekend we're talking about players not keeping their containment on the defensive side. It's just, especially linebackers. Definitely linebackers not keeping containment. We're seeing safeties creep forward. We're seeing safeties cheat. We're seeing safeties not keep an eye or keep track of their assignments down the field, and just leads to these huge, devastating 3rd down conversions. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's not the only thing that we've had an issue with on the defensive side. We've had issues with defensive backs again, losing containment on their guys. It's just not just the linebackers; it's the defensive backs losing containment on their part of the field and their, position that they're supposed to be holding on to and defending. And so it's just a little frustrating altogether. But leading us to more of our next topic is also asking, should we be playing some of the younger players? We've touched on it a little bit, but I've listed as should Auburn look to the future, which it sucks to have 5 games left on the schedule and us be talking about should we look to the future. But at the same time, there's not
what
much
more can
hope.
you friggin' do? What can you do
Yeah.
at this point? I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, you have to start looking to your future. I mean, we have two wins on the season against teams that we were 100% guaranteed wins before the season started. So, I mean, those are your only wins, and you're losing
And we
all
should
these
have
games.
so many more wins.
We should have at least 3 more wins, because I mean, we lost to Arkansas by 10 on stupid turnovers. We lost by 7 against Cal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7 against Cal. We lost 6 against Oklahoma, and 4 against Missouri. So these aren't like blowout losses that we have. The only game that was closer to a blowout was obviously Georgia. All these other games you should have friggin' won, and it came off from the hands of the quarterback giving the ball away and the running backs giving the ball away. So I mean, at the very, very least, because you have so many younger guys in this position, you should be looking at different options for quarterback, because next year you're going to have a battle no matter what. You got Hank Brown, redshirt freshman this year, is going to be a sophomore next year. You got Walker White, redshirting this year. He's going to be a redshirt freshman next year. Then you have Deuce Knight coming in as a true freshman. And then I believe Holden Gardner has 1 more year of eligibility.
If he stays,
If he stays, he'll have 1 more. And then because he received so much shit this season, he's going to go after a quarterback in the portal. So we're going to have 5 quarterbacks, a potential 5 quarterbacks on roster competing for this job. So why not get a head start on what you're working with Hank Brown and Walker White? Because I think we can all, it's safe to say that we know what we have in Holden Gardner.
Yeah. And I'm not sitting here saying that we need to bench every veteran player that's not going to be here next year. I'm saying we need to see more rotation from the younger players. Robert Lewis, I don't need to see a lot more of him. He had that third down conversion in this game where he caught the pass and looked great on that third down conversion. But like you pointed out earlier, he dropped the touchdown pass.
He dropped the biggest catch of his career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just stupid.
So I'd like to see.
Oh my God, I'm getting frustrated.
Yeah.
Just these stupid numbskull bonehead mistakes. They're just losing their concentration. We're talking about the linebackers and DBs losing containment. It's just all of our wide receivers, every single one of them, maybe except for Keandre Lambert-Smith, have had mental lapses. They're losing containment on their assignment, which is catch the damn ball. And that ball from Peyton Thorne was the prettiest ball Peyton Thorne's, 1, thrown all year, and 2, thrown to Robert Lewis. The third down catch he caught to earlier in the game, that was a way harder ball to catch than the one that Peyton Thorne laid in the friggin' breadbasket.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So it's just these mental friggin' lapses. There's a fundamental error going on inside the locker room and on the practice field that is causing these stupid mental mistakes. I don't think it's a lack of potential or talent. It's a fundamental error. It's a fundamental glitch. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Zach Blackerby has talked about this on Locked On Auburn. The older players, they may be good guys, and they may be leaders in the sense that they are doing the right things on and off the field to help these guys and to be a leader, quote unquote leader. But at the same time, they have been on losing teams for a very long time, and they don't know how it feels to be winners all the time. And these
It's
young
so
kids,
hard to say that because you want these
it
guys
does.
to experience that, but because they haven't,
And I don't think
they
they've
don't know
quit on
how
the
to
team either.
produce.
Right. When things matter, they don't know how to produce. And
Yeah.
again, they haven't quit on the team. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen anybody with their shoulders slouched or anything like that. So I'm not saying that. And I hate to point out that they just have not won, but there's just something to be said about being a winner and knowing how to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just hasn't been the case.
Good point. That's a good point.
So, Josh, I hope things turn around. I think Kentucky is a very beatable team. I think we have a chance to beat this team. They're very good defensively, and so I don't expect our offense to have a lot of success. It's going to be a very low scoring game, but we will have to see how we're going to attack this thing. Be sure to watch our upcoming video of us breaking down this Kentucky game. We're going to talk about our expectations, what we can do in this game to win this game. But until then, Josh, tell the people where they can catch our content, because we are putting stuff
usually online with the internet. Just check us out at all the socials: YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok. Everything is War Eagle Weekly. Like Cameron said, we're uploading constantly. A little less constantly because we're not really winning, especially on.
It's hard.
I'm not really posting a whole lot on TikTok because I don't want to post our losses as more than I have to. But yeah,
it's
we're
hard
posting
to
all the time.
It's hard to, like, I know we're signing off here, but it's hard to come in here constantly and talk about the deficiencies that this team has week in and week out. It's hard to talk about us losing constantly. It's a little frustrating, but we are trying our hardest to provide great content to you guys.
It's turning me into a pessimist.
Well, hey, on that bombshell, Josh, War Eagle.
Or damn Eagle.